So welcome to live webinar series, Getting Started as a New Realtor series. So we have 4 different sessions. This is first of 4 sessions that are coming up. So we're going to have jam-packed session today. And Jacob and I really originally, when we started partnering together, we started with doing these similar series. It was originally, we did a 6-week, 12-session series in Clubhouse, and we did a recap on YouTube, and we had tons of messages, people reaching out to us, telling us how they found it super valuable. And but the only unfortunate circumstances on the Clubhouse version is that you needed an iPhone and it wasn't accessible to everybody. So that's why we started doing YouTube recap, but it wasn't quite the same because it was a full hour jam-packed session. We were, answering tons of questions and participation. And obviously, when you do a recap, the live portion of it, the opportunity we miss out on. So Jacob and I have been talking for the past couple of weeks with people DMing us. So we thought, you know what? We need to take up on this opportunity and provide this, take it to the next level, make it more accessible, 1. And 2, there's a visual component. Now, not only can you hear what we have to say, so it's not just audio, you get to see what we have to show you. So sit back, take notes, and if you have any questions, again, drop it in the chat box and we'll attend to it at the end of the presentation. So to get started, I'm going to give you a little brief introduction of who I am and kind of introduce you to myself and Jacob. So my name is Tharmila Rajasingam. For those that don't know, I am a real estate agent with eXp Realty. I actually got my license at the beginning of October of 2020, so not that far away. And originally, how I got into this business is because my husband and I, we've been investing in real estate for a couple of years now, and we felt like we were missing out on an opportunity, close deals with our potential JV partners. So we got our license to have access to more information on the back end. As you guys would know, when you get your license, you have access to tons of stats you wouldn't as an agent. So that's a perk of having the license. So we got our license, and then we joined this amazing, disruptive, brokerage, and we realized that there was a lot of opportunities that came with this brokerage that we can't leave the opportunity sitting at the table. So from there, I realized that, with my years, I have 9 years in marketing consulting professional, experience of working primarily in the not-for-profit and government sector. And I realized, I'm doing a disservice to people in my group and my team if I don't share those knowledge with people. So in the idea of not just paying it forward, but in the process of me learning, I thought, you know what, why not take it to another level? So I had the privilege of a couple of months ago, had someone, Jacob DM me, call me out of nowhere on Instagram and said, hey, can I talk to you? And we talked about KB Core and EXP. And little did I know this person would join my team and group and become a good friend. But also together, a couple of months ago, we co-founded a marketing agency called Marketing and Mindset, because Jacob and I have tons of very similar background, but different, but within the digital marketing space. So we created an agency, marketing agency for real estate professionals. So that's what, and you'll get a chance to kind of explore what that is with Jacob at the end of the presentation. But in the process of me kind of being at EXP, doing this part-time the past couple of months, I became top 3 at EXP in terms of rev share organization. I have 18 agents across North America in my group that I have the pleasure of kind of helping and growing their business as well. So it kind of all around, it's kind of helped me bring a lot of things together for me. So I'm going to pass the mic off to Jacob to give a quick introduction.
Hey guys, I'm Jacob Shireman. I'm here in Houston, Texas. I'm also a realtor with eXp Realty. And I got my license back in January of this year. And I got into real estate mainly because, it's something that's really been on my list for the last 10 years. Just timing never worked out for it. I even, about 6 years ago, I was working with a friend, started helping out, and then ended up doing a majority full-time with her, flipping houses. And I really fell in love with it. And especially even working with real estate agents, I knew it's something I wanted to do, another business I wanted to take a look at. But my real background is in digital marketing, web design, social media, graphic design. I started my own company about 10 years ago, but I have been in digital marketing for over 14 years. I am bilingual, so some of you speak Spanish or want to talk, I'm here to help with that as well and talk with you. And like Tharmila said, we co-founded Marketing and Mindset together. And the main reason was like, even before, even talking about this with Tharmila to realize the opportunity and the need to help real estate agents. The first time I got in the group, like everybody was DMing me, asking me, "Oh, hey, can I ask you something about social media? Hey, can I ask you something about branding?" And we realized that there is a need out there, even though there is other companies that do this. There is a true need to help realtors with not only branding but strategy, like with marketing. It's not just about doing a bunch of posts and things. So we created that. Like I said, you can find out more about that later. But that is a little bit in a nutshell who I am. I'm here to help. I love the digital marketing arena and real estate. And I'm so glad that I was able to put two things that I really like to be able to put them together in business. And so I am here to help. Hopefully you're going to find great strategy and some things today and in the webinar that we have. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what we're going to go over today to help you with your real estate business. So this is a getting started series. So whether you're in the process of getting your real estate license, maybe you've just got licensed, or maybe you've been in the business for a year or two. This is a great foundation to constantly be revisiting or to start building upon to have a successful real estate business. So we're here to tell you some of the pitfalls and some of the things that worked for us. So maybe you can avoid some of those mistakes and use what worked well for us in your business. But today we're going to talk about the importance of finding the right brokerage for you and finding the right mentor to actually get you started and to get you trained in real estate. Then we're going to talk about building a solid business plan and budgeting. A lot of things that they don't talk about, especially in while you're getting your license in school, is how much it costs to be a realtor. It's pretty expensive. So you need to be prepared for that. And then we're going to talk about, creating a schedule. Maybe you're coming from a 9-to-5 job and you're not used to setting your own schedule and setting your own when you want to work. And that can be very challenging. So we're going to be talking about time blocking and how to prepare your day and what you might encounter there. We're going to talk about getting your marketing assets together, talk about social media and how to plan content and put it in a calendar format so that way you can stay on top of your social media strategy. And then the most important thing that you're definitely going to want to stick around to until the end is we're going to talk about CRM. A lot of people have these, but they don't use them properly. You don't see a whole lot of training. Most people want to talk about social media, but this to me is the most important thing in your real estate business. And not only how to utilize your CRM and set up properly, but how to generate leads and nurture those leads and actually convert them to clients. Because without clients, we make no money. So we want to make sure we have that properly. So let's go ahead and get started with the first topic, and that's choosing a brokerage and what to think about. When we're getting our license, we're so focused on trying to pass that test and pass it the first time, and so worried about contracts and how to be a real estate agent that we kind of put choosing a brokerage on the back burner. They'll usually go over it like maybe 30 minutes in class and let brokers come in and talk and about what they offer. But sometimes we don't get told the questions to ask, or like a very specific questions. We get the broad ones, but not like the nitty gritty. And that's what's going to help you choose the right brokerage. So one of the things that you're going to see every brokerage talk about is training and mentorship. Every brokerage offers it, but there's a different level of what they're offering. So some of the things that you want to ask is, don't just say, do you have training for me? Or am I going to get mentored? Of course they are. But it's what type of training, how often, does that ever end? And with a mentor, like, are they still in the business? One thing that I see with mentors all the time when I was interviewing brokerages was that I was getting a mentor that maybe was a top producer back in their day, but they haven't done a single thing in real estate for 10 years because all they do is they're on salary to train people. And the bad thing about, there's some good to it because they have done it and they were able to retire and now they're passing that knowledge on. But the problem is their tactics of how to get clients in a really digital modern age is a little outdated. Even though some of those tactics are still good, and realtors still use those, but you need to be able to adapt to the modern way of doing real estate. So one thing that attracted me to my brokerage was that only people that can mentor other newer agents was people that were top producers, and they have to stay top producers. And so that was something to me, is I want to see the people that are actually doing it and doing it today in my time, and to model myself after that. And then with training, like I said, everybody offers training, but what is the quality of the training and how often? And like with us, we have 30 plus hours of live training a week from top producers again. And so training is very important. And, what's the accessibility? Is it something that is only taught in the classroom? Is it something you can go revisit and watch recorded later if you're maybe you're full time? So you got to be able to wrap that training around your schedule. So highly recommend. That is some very important questions to ask. Is don't be afraid to ask in-depth questions about that. So the next part, which is super important because this is how we get paid, is what are the brokerages you're looking at? What are the splits, the caps and fees? So if you're a newer agent, a split basically is if you get a $10,000 commission, what percentage do you walk away with and what percentage goes to your brokerage? Very common split is a 60-40 split. So that means in a $10,000 commission, you'd walk away with $6,000 and your brokerage would keep $4,000. So, to me, I wanted to go with the best split possible. Obviously, there's other factors, but why would I want to give away all my money? Because, sometimes when you're new in the beginning, you're driving around a lot of buyers. Well, you're doing that for free until you make a sale. So we want to make sure that we're not leaving money on the table. I'm not there to make my broker rich. I'm there to make myself and provide for my family. So be sure to ask the splits. And with the splits, ask about the franchise fees. They'll call it a franchise tax fee, but a lot of times a brokerage will take their 40% and then they'll take another 5 to 6% for their brokerage franchise tax fees. So technically, sometimes you're walking away with maybe 54, 55%, depending on what it is. And then ask them as a new agent, what is your cap? Because sometimes with a producer, they'll have a higher split and a lower cap. And as a new agent, you pay a higher split and a higher cap. So make sure that you're asking those questions. And for those that don't know what a cap is how much commission you're paying to that brokerage. And then once you reach that, so for me, it's 16,000. Once I pay my brokerage 16,000, I get 100% of any sales after that. And then ask about fees. What are some reoccurring fees, transaction fees, E&O? Make sure that you're asking all those fees that are expected of you, so that way you can create a proper budget. And then, does your brokerage offer any revenue or income opportunities? One of the saddest things that kind of scared me about becoming a real estate agent was they talk about, real estate agents don't retire, they expire, because if you're not selling real estate, you don't make money. It's a commission business. So what are the other revenue and income opportunities that your brokerage offers? Do they offer revenue share? Do they offer profit share? Do they offer stock options? If you recommend another agent to the brokerage, do they pay you or do they give you a gift card? What are some other opportunities that you have to make money? What are the tools and resources? Do you get a CRM? Do you have a website? What are the fees involved with those? What are the resources for, as far as forms and to marketing materials and things like that? So be sure to ask exactly what you're getting. And a lot of brokerages will have you pay a monthly fee. And so make sure you understand what you're getting for that money. And the most important thing is to track these, lay it out in spreadsheet and track what each brokerage, so you can see what each brokerage offers side by side. And if you're interested in a tracking sheet with questions, we have an Excel spreadsheet that we're going to send out to everybody with a link that you can go download for free, but it allows you to ask questions to those brokerages as you're interviewing them, put their answers in, and that way you can see everything as a whole, what that brokerage is offering, and what that brokerage is offering, so you can make a good comparison based on facts and take the emotion out of it. So The next thing we're going to talk about is a business plan. So I'm going to throw this back to Tharmila, and she's going to go over how to create a solid business plan for your real estate business.
No, that's awesome. Thank you, Jacob. When I go into this topic and talk to people about business planning, often people think that, why do I need this? I'm a real estate agent. And so right off the bat, I tell people is that you're an entrepreneur. You do often when you join a brokerage, and often you have a brokerage manager or team leader. And sometimes if you are a solo agent, you don't even have that. And sometimes even when you have a team leader or brokerage manager, you're holding your contract and your license under that brokerage. They're not so much of your, typical employer manager. So it's a little bit different in that sense. So think about your business as if you're the person who's most responsible for everything. So to me, this is why it's so important at such an earlier stage of your career prior to getting your license, or even if you're a new agent who gotten a license. And I'm telling you this, I've spoken to an agent who was in the business for over 6 years, and they looked at me like a deer in the headlight when I talked about business planning. And the reason I talk about business planning is that this is the pillar, the foundation for your business. So when, in the event that you get distracted, in the event that another opportunity comes, in the event that you get discouraged, this is a plan that you're going to go back to, and it's going to ground you, but also going to help you assess and evaluate your business throughout the course of your career. And it doesn't have to be nothing lavishing. You can even find a quick template online, but it really is like a page or two. And the most important thing that I want to highlight today and talk to you about is start within yourself. Start from that personal perspective. Before you even moved into your business, think about your purpose of why you got into real estate from the perspective of obviously monetizing and helping you finance your life. But what does that mean? How much do I really need from this career for me to live a fulfilled life with me and my family? Do I have enough for savings? Do I have enough for my children? Do I have enough to pay the bills? But do I have enough saved so that I'm able to retire, right? Remember that you have to put aside money to pay your taxes when you are self-employed. You have to put aside money to pay for other fees, to promote yourself, to invest into your business. So think about deep inside, think about that, why you got into this business, who are you, and put faces to this purpose, right? Visualizing, who am I working for, whether it's your children, whether it's your partner, yourself. Think about really starting from that, living a purposeful life, right? That mindful life. And then once you kind of sat with that for a little bit, and you'll realize a lot of people don't think like this, because people get into real estate like, I want to make money, and they often don't think about that, that real reason why they're actually in this business to begin with. And this way, there's a drive that you're going to wake up every day, and it'll be a little music to your feet about the way you approach everything. Because to be honest, when you become a real estate agent, it's tough. And if you could be a successful real estate agent, trust me, you could do a lot of things yourself, and you could do a lot of jobs because you're really in charge of the full business. So once you have that purpose, I recommend you thinking about your goals, and how you arrive at some of your goals are through thinking about that vision, that long-term vision, thinking about the aspirational goal. What do I want to be? For me, I said, I want to become an icon agent. An icon agent is a top producer in our company, in our brokerage. So for certain people, like, what is that? What do you want to be? Do you want to be top 5% in Toronto? Do you want to make X amount of deals, 5 deals a year? What does that look like? And put that down on not only a qualitative data, but like quantitative. It has to be measurable. Think about a SMART goal, something that is very specific to what you're doing. It has to be realistic. So you're not saying, I want to close 20 deals a month, because clearly we all know as real estate agents, that's not possible. So thinking about things that are more smart, so time bound, so that there's a deadline to your goal. So they're able to assess and say, hey, it's been 6 months. I haven't had any deals. What am I doing that is holding me back? And so you can evaluate your business. And trust me, this is the plan that you want to kind of go back to when you're in that kind of moments where you're questioning, your business. And thinking about, when you have your vision, now you think about your mission, and mission is your actual task of getting to that vision, the things that you're going to do to move yourself forward to that aspirational goal, that long-term strategy. And And often people, once they have a goal in mind, now you're like, okay, then how do I fit into all of this? And usually, if any of you who've worked in a lot of other businesses and worked in promotions, you'll notice a terminology called SWOT analysis. And the technical terminology for this is it's a situational analysis. So pretty much you look at assess your environment as a brand. So a lot of big brands used to do this in all of their marketing and promotional strategies. And often the interesting part is now entrepreneurs are doing this. So a SWOT analysis is pretty much strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat of that brand. So pretty much you look at yourself within to see what are my strengths and weaknesses, and what are the opportunities and threats externally that affect my brand and my business. And once you put together this chart, you'll realize, my goodness, I'm so good at all these things. The things that, and again, you might had another career that you can transfer that skills onto this job, right? You might, and then you realize also, here are things that I need to work on. I'm not very good at marketing, or I'm not very good at social media, or I'm not very good at this or that. At least you have a pile of listed things that you're not very good at, hence your weakness or needs to improve on. And this is where now you're aware of who you are and what kind of support you need. So you go find the right mentors and the right people, the right brokerage to align with, to help you advance your career and yourself as a brand, but as an individual, as a realtor. And the other thing is the opportunities and threats. The moment you start writing down, here are all the opportunities that are out there for me. So whether it be, if you're in a small town and not a lot of people are online, then there you go. You have a leg up to do things that are online marketing and become the number one real estate agent, even as a new agent, because no one has that market share. So make a list of all the opportunities that are new to you. Our brokerage model is super new across the world, and especially in Canada. And so for me, there's a leg up for me to say, hey, I want to be the person to pretty much share this information with people, an opportunity to help me grow my team, but also share the knowledge with other people about how it's changed my business in the last 6 months. So I think, and then this is where you moved on to threats. Threats are things, again, externally that affects your business and your brand, and things that you have no control over. So, a good example would be like when, you get a phone call from that buyer you showed, 10 properties to, and they said, I don't know, I'm not looking to buy anymore. And you feel crushed because hopefully you don't drive them around, but let's say you have, and regardless, you waste gas driving around, your time, and you realize that, my goodness, I spent all this effort. But then again, that's not a reflection of who you are as a realtor or your brand. It's essentially, that's consumer needs that you don't have control over. Right. And this is why it's so important to write these down, so that when you hit whether a roadblock in yourself as a career, or you kind of, you're at a point where you're not quite sure what your strengths and weaknesses are, how to kind of look for that right training and mentorship. And it kind of goes aligned with the type of people you want to align with, right? So that's why a SWOT analysis is so important. And that's why it's called a situational analysis, where you look at the environment that you are there as a brand, and you go and find the things, and you kind of assess yourself and know yourself before you go out there. So that's why it's super important. The next thing I wanted to talk about in terms of a business plan is a budget. Often people, when they become a real estate agent, you realize that it might take you 6 months to do your first deal. So who's paying for, first you just paid a hefty fees for your education and your exams, and maybe some study tools you might have paid for. And what if you failed an exam? You might have to pay for another payment to take your re-exam again. So all these budgets, and not alone the reoccurring fees of your brokerage fees, insurance that you have to pay for your errors and omissions that are protecting you as a realtor. And then above all of that, your internet, your phone, your office. Some people have office fees, desk fees that they pay into the brokerage. And be cautious about the things that you have spending that are coming, that are reoccurring fee, that are annual fee versus monthly fees. And then there's besides the operational fees, you'll have fees that are to help invest in your business, like the marketing fees, the fees that you want to potentially pay into a Facebook ad, and unfortunate circumstances, other people, like for us at our brokerage, we get a free website. For other people, they don't. So think about, you're going to hire a website person to do your website. And is there a hosting company now you have to think about? So trust me, it adds up, and you want to have a budget template. And that's another thing too, guys. If you are interested in that, we can share with you our budget templates that we use. I highly recommend you start budgeting earlier ahead of your career, or whether you, again, like this is for agents who've been in this industry for a little bit too, is that, have you done this already? Do you know how much you spend? What's the revenue versus expenses? Are you in deficit? Are you in surplus? And really become a business owner. And that's what this whole thing is about, creating a strategy, an integrated strategy where your whole business, your whole goal is laid out. And this is a power of visualization, guys. The moment you write these down, the moment you say, I'm going to invest X amount of dollars into my business, you now invested. There's going to be a drive for you to get up and stay consistent, and which we'll get into in a little bit of what that looks like of you driving your business forward. And one of the things is, I had a meeting with an agent, and I started breaking down all the fees that I spent in my first couple of months. And she was in shock, and she's like, oh, I didn't realize. And I said, yes, this is why it's super important that if you haven't yet, I would highly connect with an accountant and talk about how much in your market do you need to put aside for your taxes. I actually, something that was super helpful for me is that I was watching one of Brian Casella's video, and he talks about having a separate credit card, creating a separate checking account versus savings account. I actually have a savings account that I've opened for my taxes, which again, it'll be pulled out, but for the remainder of the year, it won't be touched, right? So for me, my accountant said, put aside 35% of your payment for taxes. You never know. Again, this is all, luckily you put that aside, so you don't have to worry about it when it comes to tax season. So I put that aside, and I even put aside some money for investing into my business. So I think it's super important for you to start thinking about your business holistically and start talking to the right people to help you kind of set you up for success. And the things you can claim, right? Make sure you download apps like Dex, like a receipt bank, and start kind of capturing all of your receipts, everything you spend. So luckily for us, because we're a cloud-based brokerage, I don't have a desk fee. So I actually claim a portion of my office space, my mortgage amount, and I calculate all my fees for my home, and I calculate a certain square footage of what I use for my office. So if you're renting or owning, you have an opportunity to claim that. I claim a big portion of my car and my gas and mileage for my business. So make sure you get an app like Everlance or something that tracks your gas and owing. So budgeting is pinnacle to your business. It's super crucial, and a lot of people don't talk about this. So I think it's very important that we bring this up to you at this stage of your career, and potentially if you're even thinking about getting into this business, to think, can I even afford this? Will I, and how much do I have to work in order for me to make the right paycheck for me to move myself forward? So that's important. And the next one is the marketing plan. And this is why I call it an integrated strategy, is because you want to create a business plan that has a marketing plan integrated. So a marketing plan, usually it talks about who's your target audience. So what area are you promoting? What's your focus going to be like for the next 6 months to a year, maybe your first 2 years? What kind of content are you going to be putting online? Are you going to be focusing? So for me, I'll share with you this in a little bit. For me, I help agents, because one of my business is that I work with real estate agents to help with their marketing. And I have my own team. So I help my team and my group enhance their business. So part of my business plan is I work with buyers, sellers, and investors as one target audience, but I also have another pillar to my business where I work with agents. So totally two different target audience. So think about that. Be cognizant of who you're targeting. Are you primarily going after buyers or sellers? And the more you understand your market, the more you understand your target audience, the more you'll better be in service to other people, and you'll help people better. You'll understand yourself better. But I think that's kind of in a nutshell of some of the key component to what a business plan is, what a business planning is like when you're an entrepreneur. And these are some of the really good strategies for you to get started. And then next I want to move into is thinking about scheduling and time blocking. And why these go hand in hand is because now you have a good solid business plan of how your business is going to kind of take off in the next couple of months. But how are you going to make that happen? How does that fit into your life? And for me, I have 2 young children, very young children. So I have family pressures. Last week was my last week of my full-time job, because again, I built a plan to help me relieve me of my 9 to 5. So if you're someone who is going to be doing this part-time, and I was doing this part-time for all this time, so and I was only able to do this, and people, honestly, and there are people in the group today listening to this who direct messaged me and said, hey, as a mom with young children, having as a full-time job, how were you able to help you with your business? How do you do all of this? I see you online doing all these videos and it takes a lot of time. And the first thing I say to them is because I stick to a calendar, I stick to time blocking, and you're going to have, and time blocking is where you block off portions of your calendar where it's non-negotiable. So it doesn't matter if your friend's wedding comes up. It doesn't matter if there's a bachelor party. It doesn't matter what comes up, your business come forward, unless obviously if it's your family and if it's an emergency, that's a different case. But there are things that you're never distracted by. So if a friend calls you and says, hey, do you want to go for a picnic? You said, and this is where you look at your time and you rearrange where that non-negotiable time could take up another spot. So you have something that never changes. For me, Josh and I always launch our videos once a week. And it's very important that we get a video out that week. And if something distracts us from getting that video out, we always look at why was that? What was important than a video going out? And because YouTube algorithm is super important to us, and if you're not posting regularly, that can affect it, which we're going to be talking about in one of our future sessions. So definitely, we'll kind of get into what that YouTube algorithm is like. And the other thing is, when you're talking about a non-negotiable time blocking, is what tasks are you doing? Often people think, oh, I did a social media post, my work is done for today. But is your task that you're doing, is it income generating task? So for example, I'll give you a great example. If you just put a social media post about you versus one post versus you cold calling, it's a different conversion to that, right? So, and a different relationship. So now there's an opportunity for you to have spoke to directly to a client, door knocking, right? Maybe putting a flyer versus one social media post. And again, who's following you on your social media? Is it all your family and friends? Then what kind of content are you putting out there for people to kind of first understand your business, right? So think about, am I producing tasks that are income generating? And I truly believe in the power of, like a power list or something that you do. Get the hardest thing out of the way first in the morning. Right when you wake up, the hardest thing to do is to follow up with those clients, to pick up the phone, to call them and ask, and look at your CRM and look at where you left out with some of your buyers and sellers. And maybe you have an appointment that's coming up you need to prep for. So think about the income generating tasks come first, and they're the hardest thing to do. They could be awkward, they could be overwhelming. Get it out of the way so that you have the rest of the day to be a bit more relaxed and do other things to help grow your business. And always build time in for personal time. And the best time for example, for me, like, when do I do that? I do that later in the evening, and often around right before I unplug for sleep. I often listening to audiobooks and things like that, where I take my phone into the bathtub, I put my feet in the water, and I listen to it where I'm away from looking at a screen, but I'm listening to things. Or I literally sit in the washroom, put my feet in the water because my kids are sleeping, and I'm talking to my husband because that's my first time I got to connect with him throughout the full day because we're super busy. So be cautious about the people in your life and how are they going to be built into this life, because trust me, when you become an entrepreneur, you're going to work far more than your 9 to 5. And the next thing I want to talk about is a social media planner. So in this schedule, and for those people in my team, I've shown you my personal schedule. So I have time blocked. I use an Excel document for this, and I literally right at the bottom. That's why if you ask me, hey, how come you're so active online on social media? How do you make time for that? Yes, often it does take a lot of time to come up with the social media post, as you know. So, but I post every single day because I know exactly what to post, because I follow a vigorous social media planner. And not so much a content schedule, but a planner. So I know exactly, giving me an idea what to post. So I think that's where I kind of leave you off when you're thinking about a schedule and time blocking. And I highly suggest you do one. And I even have one printed near my desk space where so I'm always looking at it, even before I even open my computer to look at my schedule. I have this. So this is above and beyond your calendar, right? So, and I'm going to pass it off to Jacob to talk about marketing strategies.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. So she left off with the planner. So that's going to kind of segue us into talking about marketing and gathering our assets. And, one of the first things that we're going to want to do is to build our brand. And what's so funny is, being a marketing company, we see people, how they go about this and completely the wrong way. And it's okay, because, at the end of the day, you're not a graphic designer, you're not a digital marketer, you're a real estate agent. That is your focus. A lot of real estate agents try to wear all of these hats. And I think that's where a lot of real estate agents fail, is because they get so overwhelmed instead of learning to find people to help you with that. But we're going to go over some basics of branding. So when you're starting your brand, what is the branding? Branding is, she talked about your target audience, but it's who you are as a real estate agent or whatever business you're in. It is, what do you stand for? Who are you? And you want people to be able to recognize you. So if they're going through social media or they see a post or an advertisement, they know immediately, oh, that's Tharmila. Oh, that's Jacob. And one basic way to do what you would get with any marketing company is to start with kind of a style sheet. Create your own style sheet. You can do this in Word. You can do this in Canva. If you don't know what Canva is, it's a free graphic design tool. I highly recommend that you go to register for that. And with Canva or even in Word, basically what you're doing is you're going to go find the fonts that you're going to use. Pick one or two fonts, whether they're contrasting fonts like a sans serif or a serif, or pick your colors, your logo. You can get that stuff done for you as well. But you want to keep everything kind of in a sheet. So that way, when you're creating posts, even from templates and things, you can keep that style going through. It doesn't always have to look the same, but the colors, the fonts, the logos, they should be consistent to have that brand and what you're communicating. And when you're thinking about colors, research color psychology. Blue is calming, green means money and growth, and purple power. There's actually a psychology behind the way people feel when they see a certain color palette. And I'll tell you, really, if you're struggling with a color palette, Google Canva 50 website color palettes, and they literally show you 50 color palettes and the numbers that you literally can just take that and go. But create a branding sheet. It gives you somewhere to start. Even if you have a marketing company help you later, they can see kind of what you've been using and build off of that and elevate that. And if you need help with branding, you can always reach out to us. We'd love to help you. But if not, this is some simple strategies to get started on your own. So once you have your logo, your colors, your fonts, now you got to implement that into a website. So for us, we build our website in our CRM. And our website ties into the IDX, which ties into the MLS. So it shows all the listings available in that area. And then as well as we brand it to ourselves, put information about ourselves, our contact, our social media. So make sure your website is up, because that's something that makes you look official. Everybody nowadays in this digital era, I don't care what anybody's skill level is with technology. If you don't have a website, it kind of looks sketchy. And so make sure your website's there, make sure all the links are working, make sure your social media is linked to it, and that they can have some fun facts about you. Not that you're just a realtor, but go ahead in your branding, be sure to be authentic in that. And so people know who you are. So then obviously start your printed materials. You can start this kind of even as you're getting your license to have an idea of what you're going to do and what your design is going to be. This stuff doesn't have to be started when you pick your brokerage or get your license. Obviously, they're going to have certain requirements, but you can at least have a majority of this or a list made of things, like a checklist of things that you need to get done. But your printed materials, you're going to have business cards, yard signs, open house signs, for sale signs, then hopefully sold. You can put that sticker across there as well. But make sure all your printed materials, are you going to do door hangers? Are you going to mail out flyers? Go ahead and start gathering those there, even pricing them out as well. And then one of the most important things is Google My Business. Go ahead and get that listed. It's another social media outlet to use, but the great thing is with Google Maps, it's going to show you as a realtor near them. And one thing I highly recommend is go ahead and start having friends, colleagues, family leave a review for you, a well-written review. It doesn't have to be that they worked with you selling a house, that they bought a home for you. What are you like to work with? Are you honest? Are you trustworthy? Do you work in a speedy manner? Do you answer their questions? Especially if you've worked with people in the past, ask them just to leave a short review, leave a 5-star review, because Google and their algorithm is going to push up people with more reviews and a higher score than somebody that has like one review and then they're a 3 stars. So go ahead and get that started. And that way it's there for you in the business. So that's going to take us over to what everybody's interested in getting to the digital side of marketing, which is a social media plan. So where do you begin with social media? Tharmila talked about a planner and kind of a calendar of what you're going to talk about. So before you even get started with that, what channels are you going to post to? One of the biggest mistakes, I've done it and earlier in my other businesses, is that you try to get on every social media channel. I remember when I started my photo booth company, I had like 10 social media channels. I only posted to 2. And then when everybody went to click there was nothing there. So, and you feel like kind of sometimes that you have to be everywhere, but it's not true. Pick 1, maybe 2 if you're new channels to start with. Now you can go ahead and set them all up because you want to lock in that name. I recommend that you have the same name for everything. You don't want one social media to be J Shireman and one social media to be JM Shireman. For me, it's JM Shireman, except for on LinkedIn because they wouldn't give it to me, but everything's JM Shireman. So keep that name consistent for people to be able to find you easier, but focus on 1 or 2 channels. So Facebook, Instagram, or maybe Instagram, LinkedIn, if you're already on LinkedIn. Focus on those first. And the reason why is you want to have consistent posting. So when you're setting those up, make sure you fill it out completely. It's so funny to actually see. I was talking to a few other realtors, and before I talked to them, I went to their Facebook and they didn't even have a phone number or email address on there. The only way to contact them was through the messenger. And if you're not friends with them, it automatically gets thrown into spam. So make sure that everything is on there. Your about, your short description. You've got your banner at the top with your branding and your information. Make sure everything is there, your hours, everything, and use those keywords that they're looking for. The worst thing I think I've seen lately is when I've looked at some other people's Instagram. As a realtor, they put entrepreneur, which is great. Maybe if you own multiple businesses, but there literally is a category for real estate agent. So when you're Googling or searching on Instagram, Houston Realtor, you're going to pop up under those accounts. But as entrepreneur, you're not going to. So make sure in your bio, especially Instagram and LinkedIn, that you're using those keywords for realtor, real estate agent, your city, and make sure that you completely have that set up, and then that the branding is consistent throughout. So, on my Facebook for our JM Realty group, for my husband and I, we literally, our Facebook is a similar layout. YouTube is a different layout, but it all is the same colors, the same style. It's just certain text is different, and that's okay. But it looks like a consistent brand. So make sure that is the most important thing, is that when they go from one social media to the other, it is a consistent brand. And then create a weekly planner, whether one day you're going to show a new listing or a client testimonial, next day something that's more mindset inspirational, and then something locally. One thing to keep in mind is, remember, you don't want your social media to look like a real estate magazine with just picture after picture after picture of houses. They're there following you, not houses in your community. And as a real estate agent, you don't sell houses. You sell a lifestyle in that community. So you want to be posting other local businesses, network with them. Go find a coffee shop, a restaurant, a local dog place. People love their pets. Go find a restaurant, anything that you can get in front of their audience and tag. Like we just recently started doing reels, and when I tag them in the reel, they instantly put it in their story because they get a DM saying so-and-so has tagged you in their story, and they have a button underneath it to instantly add it to their story, and they always will do it. And now, like when we did this Venezuelan place, I got in front of 10,000 people and immediately got a few followers. So make sure you're leveraging other people's audiences too when you're planning your content, because why not utilize them and work with other professionals, your title person, your mortgage person. Be sure to include them in your content and get stats from them and tag them and maybe a picture with them if you can. And with the weekly planner, make sure you're putting things like when you're out in the community, always be taking videos and pictures. I know it's annoying sometimes to literally take pictures of everything, but it's nice to have a pool of content when you can't get out one day. Maybe it's a holiday or it's raining really bad. You have backup content that you did from 2 weeks ago. Nobody's going to know the difference. And then schedule your content. I highly recommend Buffer. There's Hootsuite. I think that's what Tharmila uses. One thing I like about Buffer lately, and I don't get paid to say this, so it's no affiliate, is that they have linked with Canva. So now you can pull your design from Canva and automatically put it in there without having to download it or anything like that. So schedule out your content. You should have at least daily posts for the next 2 weeks scheduled, and then add on top of that, really utilize stories. There's just we could literally spend an hour on probably 2 or 3 hours on this topic, but just make sure you're scheduling all of your content. And that way, if you have days, because this has happened to me where I forgot, but then you have a backup post, and you don't want to not be in that mindset of constantly posting, because you need to keep yourself out there and help yourself with those algorithms, because you are competing with other realtors in your space, and it is competition. So you want to be out there and provide something that has value, not just all these houses, but stuff that actually will provide value to them in their community as well as their real estate journey. So that brings us to talking about lead generation strategy, which we all need is leads. And this is probably the most popular topic. And I'm going to throw that back to Tharmila to go over that.
Yeah, this is, you waited for the last, the good, I guess, the juicier part of this presentation. So when you're talking about a lead generation strategy, in particular for me, I'm always thinking about a tool. And there's a number of different ways for you to leverage and to create a lead gen funnel. And I think it's really important is I always start with my CRM, because at the end of the day, when you have leads coming in, they have to go somewhere and they have to be nurtured. So a lead is when you have a new lead, it's somebody, Jane Doe off the street, somebody you've never met, it's a stranger. So how do you keep that relationship going throughout their the customer journey for you to convert them? And the for me to do that is to leverage a CRM. So not to get too technical heavy, a CRM is a customer relationship management tool, and I'll be the first one to tell you that half of our company people are leaving other brokerages to come to our company to use a platform called KV Core, which I openly talk about and train people on, and and a lot of people aren't even using. I was at a training and they said that 50% of our companies aren't even using this. And so I really highly recommend that you, one of the questions you ask your brokerage or people that you're aligning with about a CRM, and make sure that you are thinking, there are a lot of CRMs out there, right? So think like Salesforce, and I can name so many, but think about how is it going to leverage for this business? How are they unique to real estate? Because a CRM that's unique to our industry is very different. So when I get into thinking about a smart CRM, what does that mean? A smart CRM is something that's supposed to do kind of a lot all in one for you. It's supposed to have an overview of all of your clients and customers that are coming in, new lead or whomever, even people that you've closed a deal with that you can over time nurture. Because remember what they say, every closed deal should eventually in a lifespan should turn into 7 other deals, because they will recommend you and through referrals, right? And that's why some agents just do referrals throughout their life. So I think in order for us to become those agents without having to put a lot of energy into lead genning, you need to start from here, from a strategy. And so making sure your CRM is smart is one of the ways, is making sure that it has a behavioral automation, right? So making sure that you're able to track and see, who's coming into your CRM, what are they looking at, what properties are they looking at, when did they come back, and what kind of, does it matching some of the conversation you had with them? Because I had a client that I was talking to her about, properties in Richmond Hill, which is an area in the Greater Toronto area, but then she was looking at properties in Oshawa, very different places. And I was like, but he gave me a really good information not to give her a call and say, hey, I put you on a search alert for Richmond Hill, but now you're looking at places in Oshawa. Are you looking to move to Oshawa? And so it gave me a really good information now for me to start a conversation back with this lead. So this is why it's super important. And in order for you to leverage these leads and to keep it going, and this is why it made it super easy for me in my career, especially having been someone who was doing a full-time job, is to leverage a tool like your CRM, a smart CRM, to do a lot of the work for you. So it was texting for me, it was leaving voicemail drop, and it was emailing people for me through drip campaign. So you can leverage a smart campaign that is going to kind of help you leverage and talk to people and keep the conversation going when you're not available to do. Because I have over 500 people now in my database, and half of the database, I haven't had a chance to personally speak with them because I'm waiting for them to respond to my drip, and then I pick up the phone call. And sometimes I've spoken to them over the phone and they're still not ready. So I always put them back into my drip to continue that drip as they come into my database. And it always has a trigger on it. So it'll say, in 14 days of them coming back to your CRM, CRM, send them this text. So then 5 days of them coming back, it'll do this. And making sure our CRM has a default campaigns up to 700 days. So it'll keep this going for a long time, which is super important. As you know, things don't happen overnight with people and the decision making. So it's super important that you're kind of enabling these kind of things into your CRM. And another thing is making sure that it has an ability to categorize, right? So let's say you spoke to somebody named Linda and this person is a buyer. You want to make sure that those buyers are categorized as buyers versus sellers or both, so that you're able to help them out. And for me, I have a number of, different lawyers or mortgage agent that I put them in touch with. And some of them I put them in touch with my own mortgage agent or a real estate lawyer, for example. Then how do you know who you put them in touch with? So I love making sure your CRM, you don't have pieces of paper lying around or Excel document where you're keeping notes. You're working in a very systematic and again, smart way, so that you're not spending time with all the admin work. You're letting the CRM do the work for you. So now, and making sure there's an app functionality to the CRM. Not every CRM come in an app. So that, let's say you're on the road and one of your client calls you out of nowhere. This is, it can be Stephanie number 3. How do you know where you left this conversation? You can quickly pull up on your phone in your app while you put them on speaker, and you have notes that are pinned to the top of where you left that conversation. You're able to help them. You can look at and sometime I had a client that called me and said, hey, this property you sent me, can you tell me more info? No clue what they're talking about. What did I do? Give me a second. Pulled my app up. I looked at what property they looked at, that automatically, not me, my CRM automatically sent them search alerts. Remember, sending people search alert is a form of nurturing. So now I'm able to look, are you looking at 2-3 Main Street property? Yes, that property actually was just sold yesterday at X, and I can look up all those information. So thinking about a CRM for us, I love talking about KV Core because it's an integrated CRM and it's a 3-in-1 for us. Our website, our lead gen, so I run ads through my CRMs, comes directly to my CRM, and then it's a smart CRM. So 3-in-1 tool that's helping you kind of run your business, so you don't have to do all that work for you. And that's the biggest part, I think, the failure in a lot of real estate agents and entrepreneurs, and particularly, is that they have all these clients and leads, but they're not using them, they're not leveraging them, they're not nurturing them. Because guess what? When they're ready to buy, if you were kept in top of mind, they're going to think of you. They're going to be like, that real estate agent that always emails me, that always texts me. Let me give them a call. Because sometimes people just come to a roadblock and they want to know a question about a certain property, or they're walking by in their neighborhood and they see a for sale sign. They want to know, and it says exclusive on it. Now they want to have access, but they can't because it's not on the MLS yet. You want them to call you to get that information, right? So this is why it's so important to be out there as many times as possible and keep that communication going. And the best part is if it's automated, so you don't have to do any of the work. The next I wanted to go into, when you're thinking about a lead gen strategies, think about it from all across. Think about traditional and modern strategies. So be open to looking at strategies around cold calling. Like my husband calls a number of times a week. He calls up to 3 hours, sometimes a day, on cold calling. And he's building these long-term relationship with these people. And he has a different strategy that he follows. He even tried door knocking prior to us getting into lockdown. So even direct mail, there was a time I listed in a condo and I sent a direct mail to everyone in that condo. Believe it or not, 7 months later, that flyer, somebody called me and I'm closing a property in October because I left a direct mail at their property. And they said, hey, I got a flyer from you. So, but remember, these are some things that are free and that are paid. So think strategically about how can I leverage and do lead gen without having to also have things come out of your pocket, right? So you can pay for pay-per-click ads, you can pay for direct mail, but can you do something like cold calling without having to pay, but have a high conversion where you're talking directly to people potentially, right? And then also, for those people that might have seen me, I always talk about this in Clubhouse too. It's like, Steve Jobs said this, people often don't know what they want until they see it. Why do you think that people spend a lot of millions of dollars, thousands of dollars putting together, window marketing, and, people often window shop, but then often when you window shop, what do you do? Oh, you know what? Let me try on that dress. And you go in and you try on the dress. And if you like it, you buy it, right? So that's why taste testing and, trying on the products are things that a lot of big brands push you on in terms of retail, very similar to us. you want to take people to see the properties, hence they would buy it. You want to show people a virtual tour, hence they would buy it. So the more information you put out there for people, you're helping them convert. And now they're going to be like, I never knew I can afford that actually. So now you're helping people. A lot of millennials think that they can buy, but because they're not actually pre-positioned, they're not pre-approved particularly properly in order for them to close a deal. That's why it's so important that you work with your mortgage agent to provide that information to people that think that they can afford to buy. So that's where this is a really good segue for me to move into the next topic is, when you're thinking about growing your business and thinking about going after, this bigger goals of yours, this bigger vision, think about, I'm always that person that do your research, be prepared. And this goes with anything in your life, right? In order for you to attract fortune, in order for you to attract good people, in order for you to attract that good job, in order for you to attract all good things in your life, those things came to you often when you're prepared. So, I want to share with you a personal story of mine. And this is, I encourage you to listen, even if you're not a new agent, or if you're somebody who are in the process of, the lovely noise of my children's make it this time. And I encourage you to kind of listen in, even if you've already chosen a brokerage, or if you're somebody who are in the midst of, thinking about even having to, you're at a brokerage that you're really happy with. But I want to share with you something from my own personal experience, kind of diving into, what if there's an opportunity where are you missing out on something? Or is there an opportunity that could you be making more money? Or are you losing money and time and effort by being at a brokerage that you like so much because of something so small? So have an open mind when you're going through this. And a part of this is where I want to share with you why I chose my brokerage. And everyone has their own perspective on this. And again, this is why it's so important where we started off with, how to choose the right brokerage, how to align yourself with the right people, is because often you'll realize that we all have our own needs, our own strengths, our own weaknesses. And if you ask the same questions to Jacob, he'll give you a totally different answer. So here is what to give you a little bit of a glimpse as a new agent, 7 months ago, what was I doing when I was looking for brokerage? I interviewed about 8 brokerages. I had no idea what a brokerage is supposed to do for you. Often you think that a brokerage is your employer. I had no idea that you were an independent contractor and that they don't have any other obligation to you. So to me, mentorship and training was important, but a lot of brokerages offered that. But so I started asking, what do you mean by a mentor? What are they going to help me with? Who is this mentor? What do they do? And the more questions I asked, the more uncovered that, you'll have someone available here to help you. Oh, you go through this training. I'm like, well, who's training me? And they're like, oh, we have this vigorous social media training. I'm like, who is training me on this? And then you find out, this is why it was so important for me when I chose EXP. Is like, my goodness, wow. So you're telling me that I get to train from one of the top social media expert worldwide. So people who've done and proven, who've done this and proven to have succeeded in this, not someone who happened to be a brokerage manager. So make sure you do your due diligence, guys. When you go and align yourself with people, you ask the right questions and make sure that they are the right people who are credible, right? In order to share those information. And for me, another thing that was really important for me as a new agent was tools and resources. I told you I was full-time. I have so many family pressures right now. My husband's taking care of the 2 kids and I kind of feel bad. So having to make sure how do I spend more time with them and not be stuck, writing out all my clients and making sure that I'm sending out text messages and follow up. So I needed tools like KV Core to automate a lot of things for me, to run ads for me, where I don't have to now integrate all my clients back into my CRM because it was automatically doing it for me. So finding tools that were saving a lot of times in the long run, because right now, essentially now, because of me leaving my 9 to 5, I'm buying time, I'm now buying time. And another thing that was really important for me was, and I didn't realize this until I finally started learning about the EXP model, is that, the opportunity for you to not just earn from closing a transaction. Of course, I got into real estate thinking that there's an opportunity for me to close deals and potentially help buyers, sellers, and investors, but there's an opportunity for me to make money. How many times you'll know this you won't know this right now, but maybe throughout your career, you'll notice your family and friends will find out that you're a real estate agent and they're getting into the business and they'll ask you, hey, what brokerage are you with? And the first thing that you would say is, my brokerage. Well, I'm with this and I like being here and I've been here X amount of years. because that's all you know. But is your company, is your brokerage compensating you for that work that you're doing? So it was, for me, EXP pays half of their income back to the agent. That's why we're an agent-owned company. And that's why you see all these agents going out and trying to build their group. And like myself and Jacob, we're building our own group, is because we get compensated for it. Trust me, if someone's giving you money, you would hustle hardest, double, twice as fast and more, right? And this is why a lot of other brokerage, you don't see a lot of people talking about it, is because they're not compensated for it, right? And how many times have you, in your career, I've spoke to an agent from one of the top brokerages here in Canada, and he says, I brought in 44 people. And I'm like, wow, you could be financially free if you were at our brokerage with 44 agents who were performing, right? So people don't think like that. And so for me, another thing is, now that I'm leaving my full-time job and I'm leaving a government full-time job, so health benefits was a big issue for me. A lot of brokerages don't offer this. So, and they had a very good health package. So, and another thing is availability. The thought of me working on something, especially an entrepreneurial mindset of growing something for so long, and thinking that I may miss out on this opportunity to pass this on to my family in the event that something happens to me. What happens to all these years worth of work, this legacy that you leave behind? So making sure that your work is willable. So you're telling me that, whatever in any traditional brokerages, whatever happens to that agent at that point in time is what you leave your family with. For me, they have the ability to, all this work I've done of, bringing agents on and building my team, my family have an opportunity to still continue to make income off that. That's mind blowing for me. And the other big thing is, in 2020, 2021, this is the most impactful thing is, cloud-based. And I get to work anywhere, anytime in the world. So you're telling me right now, when I worked for my government job, I had to either go into my government job or work from home. And if I told them, oh, can I go and work from Texas? It doesn't work like that, right? Because they won't allow me to. So how does that, so now I get to make the same amount of money, same amount nurturing, but I can do it cloud-based somewhere else. And I have agents here in Ontario helping me. If I have to go somewhere, I can refer my clients to my group in order for them to taken care of. So I'm not giving it away to some random stranger agent who's secret agent, right? So, and it's a pandemic proof model when it's a cloud-based, right? So you're not paying for desk fees and things that you're not using. I had an agent that came from a big brokerage that was paying for coffee a month. So, but you're not going to a brokerage, you're not having coffee, but you're paying monthly coffee fees, like $7 coffee fee a month adds up, right? But people don't think like that. So why would you pay for something that you're not using? And another thing to me was, I wanted to keep more of my money. I wanted to give less of my money away to a brokerage that never gave me that client. So what does that mean? And another big misconception that I'd had as a new agent coming into is that these big brokerages, people have a misconception is, I have over 500 people in my database and not a single person asked me and not refused to work with me because I was not part of a big blockbuster brokerage. And so I think it's really important. And if anything, this gave me a leg up in my listing presentation. I'm not going to lie to you. For those of you who are in my group that have seen my listing presentation, I have broken down into modern agent versus a traditional agent to show people, because I'm part of this brokerage, I have an opportunity to do all these things that if I was part of another brokerage, I wouldn't have access to as of today. So thinking, and this is what it was doing for me. And these are the type of question I asked and helping me align myself with this brokerage. And I was looking for, and a lot of agents are like, oh, maybe if I don't like it here, I'll jump somewhere else. But why would you go into your business thinking like that? That if it didn't work. So you always have to go in like, this is the only brokerage. It's going to be my forever game. And this is the right brokerage. It's going to support me in everything that I need at this point in time in my career. And that it's going to allow me to build a team without having to wait 5-10 years to eventually, when I get X amount of years under my belt and get an X amount of license, I immediately started having the opportunity to build a group of people under me. That's amazing, without having to look at their paperwork, without thinking about overhead cost. And now I'm a team leader within EXP, right? So I'm thinking really about your own potential of what you could be as an agent, and that kind of leads me to, one of the questions that everybody asks is like, so then what are you doing with your group? Then what are you and Jacob doing that's so special and that's so unique? And this is above and beyond that our brokerage provides, and that makes us unique. So for those of you that might have heard about the Agent Wolfpack Group, it was co-founded by a social media influencer. He's top social media #1 agent in Alberta, and he is top 30 social media agent across a realtor on social media worldwide, and it's founded by a person called Mike Sherrard, some of you might have heard of, and Connor Steinberg, who is also a top 50 EXP influencer within North America. And he is, they both of them, they found a group called Agent Wolfpack, which is, again, we're not a traditional team, we're a tightly knit group of people that are really changing and redefining this industry. And we're people that are providing tons of value to our agents, because guess what? If I'm going to be successful, I want tons of other people to be successful. And we're doing a disservice if I'm not giving away all this stuff that I've already learned. So very similar to what Mike and Connor are doing. Jacob and I are taking it one step further, and this is what above and beyond what you get. And for those of you that know this, you might have seen ads for this from Mike Sherrard, plenty of his ads. This is one of his prime feature value stack that he provides called Social Agent Academy. And it's just a little over $1,000 that people pay to purchase. And it gives you LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything step by step of how to start an account, how to run ads, and on YouTube. And of course, he has over 40,000 subscribers. He's a YouTube influencer and he's a master at what he does. So he put this all into a course and step by step teaches you. And being a part of our group, you have access to this for free. So which is amazing. And again, like I mentioned, when you join our group, you have access to everything Mike and Connor provides. But when you join our group, mine and Jacob's, and any person that invited you to this group as well, you have an opportunity to grow your own team, and you have an opportunity to provide this for them. And one of the things that I provide, and Jacob and I provide, and you have access to, it's our private Google Drive full of templates and additional resources. And that could be everything from a buyer's guide, a seller's guide, and these are all templates that you can take for your market, leverage it for your market, edit to your market, and then change to your own branding and share. And then also our market reports, a marketing, a business plan, a marketing integrated plan, even Canva templates that we've done for flyers and door hangers, things like that you can use as well. And the other thing that we do on a weekly basis is a private mastermind call. This is above and beyond the mastermind calls that Connor and Mike provide. So this is a mastermind call that I host every week on Wednesdays, and this is where we talk about everything about a certain business. And some of the topics that we've covered in the past could be KV core training, analytics for realtors, how to put together a marketing plan, and different topics, how to do a listing presentation. So and we have an opportunity to also share with how to grow your own team as well, some of the strategies and topics that we talk about in our private group. And above and beyond this, Jacob and I also host a number of Facebook communities, Facebook groups within Facebook that you have an opportunity to be a part of. I know some of you are members of this. We have over 200 plus members that you can share your content in as well. And you won't be removed because we're the admin of these groups, so which is kind of a best part. So we have access to other agents that you can share and connect with as well. And then I'm also, if any of you that are following me on social media, you notice that I'm hosting a number of events. And because I'm located in the Greater Toronto area, I'm hosting an event that I launched in partnership with some people in my group locally in Toronto. So you have that local connection with me. And we're going to be actually taking this globally. And so Jacob is starting his own lunch and learns in Houston. So if you're somebody who are in the Houston area and want to partner with Jacob, you can do that as well. And we're going to be doing this with other team members that we have in California and that are in Florida. So we're going to be doing this across North America, and we're just kind of planting the seed here in Toronto as well. And the other opportunity that I wanted to provide is this is something that I do, that I charge a lot of brands for, and that I do for a living. As I mentioned it to you, that's what I do for Jacob and I actually provide this as a service under marketing and mindset. And this is one-on-one marketing consultation by us. So you have an access to our calendar to have a marketing consultation on your brand, where we audit your brand, we'll give you strategies of what's working, what isn't working, and we have a conversation with you about marketing. And that's something that we provide, again, above and beyond what you get when you partner with us. And I'm going to pass this on to Jacob to kind of talk a little bit about the other stuff that we have going on.
Sorry, I had myself muted. So just like these webinars, we're kind of going more high level type deal. But one thing that we have integrated was a YouTube channel. We both kind of had separate YouTube channels talking and helping agents with marketing. And so we've kind of put it collaborated and put this group together called the Real Estate Agents Collective. I highly recommend you go subscribe, like, and watch videos. We put out videos every week. We got a lot of videos that are going to be coming out in the future. But basically, you're going to see stuff on brokerages and marketing training and why some other agents chose EXP and lead generation strategies and all these things to help you grow your real estate business. So I highly recommend that you go check out our channel and subscribe, because like I said, we'll be doing some more in-depth dive of these topics that we've talked about today. And if there's anything that you want to see, go comment on one of the videos, let us know, and we'll be happy to cover that topic if it's in our wheelhouse. And let's go ahead. And then on top of the YouTube channel, we've talked about marketing and mindset. One of the things that we do with this company, as a marketing company, we help with branding. So whether you need help with logo design, any type of graphic design, we can help you with that. We do video editing. So maybe you're not very technical, you're not very good with technology, and you want to do a YouTube channel, we can help you, whether it's creating your intro video or your outro, or helping you just with your intro video to introduce yourself, or editing your weekly, monthly, whatever your duration is, the videos that you're putting out, we can help you with that. Social media marketing, web design, whatever you need help with as far as marketing your business, we can do. But the most exciting thing that we are truly ecstatic about was the monthly social media calendar for realtors that we came out with. It's literally like $1.63 a day. The price is $49 a month. You get a free trial and a free 7-day trial. Basically what this is, there's a lot of template companies out there that literally will deliver like 300 templates to you, and you go edit them yourself. And what we wanted to do is that really does nothing for anybody. You just to throw a bunch of templates and throw a couple of hashtags. It's not going to do anything. There's no real strategy behind it. So we took what we usually do with our clients, come up with a monthly calendar. So we're already into September. You'll see August calendar from last month. You'll see September, and there's a strategy for each day that allows you to create a post, whether it's an editable template that you can easily edit in Canva, or maybe it's us telling you to go out and capture a video or a photo or put up previous client testimonial. There's so much strategy there. We give you the recommended caption and hashtags, and then even teach you like while you're out, how to be thinking about future posts and capture them. Because a lot of real estate agents, they spend about 2 to 3 hours a week or a day, 2 to 3 hours a day planning their social media. And that's time wasted, because a lot of it isn't the correct strategy. And that's time that you could have been spent, prospecting and following up with clients and spending on your business. So we wanted to take away that you could spend maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, like on a Sunday morning, drinking your coffee, planning your social media for the week. So highly recommend you take that. We've talked about it. We want to offer like a 50% off promo for your first month. So we're going to be sending out a promo code for that. For those of you who want to try it, but you at least can try it out for 7 days for free. And if you don't like it, cancel it. I'm pretty sure so far nobody's really out there canceling. So I know you're going to love it. We just want to find a way that we can make it affordable, because it's so expensive to be a real estate agent, and social media is the way to be the modern agent. So we're happy to present that. If you have any questions about that or anything else that we do, just reach out to us, and we will do that. So I know we said we wait to the end because we're basically on to the Q&A. Somebody just asked if there's a discount for our team members. Yes. If you join our team, we do have some discounted products as far as the marketing services go, and you do get 50% off a month on the social media calendar. So yeah, we wanted to make this super accessible to our team and offer a discounted rate, because we really want to see you guys succeed, but you need to have some skin in the game so you actually use it and take that. So if there's anybody else that has any questions that we can answer about anything that we went over, maybe it's a more technical question or about our brokerage or about us, go ahead and put them in the chat box if you'd like. And I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that. And if there's no questions, we'll kind of wrap it up. But go ahead, and if you haven't registered for other sessions, hopefully you got some value out of this today. This was kind of a brief, kind of high just kind of a high overview of basically of what you need to do. And we're going to dive into some more things next week. Next Monday, we're going to be doing digital marketing. And then the week after that, we'll be talking about lead generation, which everybody loves, and the strategy behind that. And then our last one to end the Getting Started series will be to get started on YouTube. So, ideas, topics, how to introduce yourself, the branding it, how to set it up, and maybe some video ideas. So we're going to be giving those. So highly recommend maybe sharing our post onto your social media. Tell other realtors. If you're in a brokerage, let other people know. We really want people to take a look at this and to elevate their business. And if we can do anything in the process to help, we would love to help. So looks like there's no questions. So I'm going to go ahead.
Oh. No, we have 2 questions here. So we got some questions directly to the host.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to be helping you guys and sharing this information. To be honest, guys, the reason why we're doing this too is to show you the breaking the ice, to show you a little bit of what we provide. And we're really Jacob and I, you've heard us before. If you've heard us before in Clubhouse, if you go into our YouTube, you'll notice that we lead by with value, and we're people that this is who you see every week giving tons of value, connecting, and because at the end of the day, we're kind of very similar to the way our founder and CEO Glenn Stamford, if you heard of him, he's a billionaire, and he said when he left Keller Williams to start eXp Realty, which is very similar, modeled after Keller Williams, but Keller Williams has profit share, we have revenue share, because he said, I want to give less away to the company. I want agents to keep more of their money in their pocket. So he started eXp Realty, and he said, I want to become a billionaire, but in the process of me becoming a billionaire, I want to make a lot of people millionaires. So that's kind of the value that Jacob and I lead with, is that I want a lot of our agents, we're going to be successful, and I want and we are successful, and we want a lot of our agents to be successful. I want people to be, that's why when people come to us and they're not quite sure, we're like, no, I want you to be sure. If you're not sure about who you are and where you want to take your business, then we're not the right people you want to align with. And somebody asked a question in here about, when you join our group, remember guys, we're not a traditional team, right? That's why we call ourselves a group. We are not you're not joining the wolf pack and we have to go by our logos and nothing like that. You're not signing any separate agreement with us. We are a revenue share organization within eXp. We're pretty much people that you put our name as our sponsors, and you are introduced to eXp through us, where you'll notice this when you interview a lot of other sponsors within eXp, we're just giving you a substantial value stack above and beyond what eXp already does. And eXp is a no-brainer model. And if you're somebody who've never truly heard the eXp model and wants to actually learn all about it, because I gave you just a snippet of what I liked about it from a new agent perspective, I highly recommend you come to either one of our lunch and learn or one of our live attraction calls, which I can send you a link to. So feel free to get in touch with us, and I'm happy to walk you through the model. We take about 40 minutes to walk you through the model, a deep dive into the model and breaking everything down for you guys. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is we are not a typical team. And yes, you have access to everything that our upline provides. So you do have access to everything Mike and Connor. So access to all of Mike's call. You have access to private access to Mike Sherrard, as well as Connor Steinberg. You have access to. So this is when you join our group, you have access to them, but you have access to everything else that we've shared. Because Jacob and I, we've been in the field doing this for years, over 10 plus years, and we've had our own company. So we wanted to share this with our group because, again, like I said, we're doing a disservice to people in our group if we're not helping you guys succeed. And the best part about all of this is, you ask, why are we doing this? Because we get compensated if you guys do well. So every time you guys close a deal, guess what? We get paid not out of your pocket. We get paid out of the company's pocket. Remember, I said eXp Realty pays their agent 50% out of their company's revenue back into the agent. It's an agent-owned company. And this is why you hear a lot of eXp agents out there. And that's why the misconception here is often people misunderstand the model. But if you want to hear it the right way, properly, get in touch with us. So yes, so you have access to everything the wolf pack, as well as above and beyond what. So if you join through somebody else in the wolf pack, you won't have access to myself and Jacob. So I wanted to mention that. And can you talk a little bit about your first year in real estate has been like? Absolutely. I have, remember guys, I work a full-time job, 40 plus hours. I even work overtime. I worked for the government. I worked for the government in a number of different capacity doing events. So above and beyond that, I wanted to show you guys that I'm not a full-time agent. If anything, I was a part-time agent. But remember, the hustle is very different, right? My drive was different, and that's what made me successful. I was consistent with the things that I was doing, because I'm going to share you my successes, but I wouldn't take it for face value, because it came with a lot of hard work and putting in a lot of these training to actually do work. So I would, when the kids go to sleep at 7:30 p.m., I would work until 1 a.m., right? So the hustle was always there. The weekends, Josh and I my husband and I were partners, and we would take turns doing showings. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that I've closed 6 deals. I have officially one closing in October. I have over 500 people in my database. And you guys follow me on Instagram and YouTube. And for any of you who are on YouTube, you know the undertaking of doing just one YouTube video, hence putting together the script, the editing. So as you can see on our social media, not only do I manage one social media account, we manage 3 accounts, right, Jacob? And it's only getting bigger. And we put out content on a weekly basis, multiple videos. And above and beyond that, guys, I manage right now. I lead, not manage. I lead a group of 18 plus agents across North America. And we're just diving into the global EXP model. And guys, I got my license at the beginning of October 2020. And I literally last week, some of you, if you were on my Instagram, you'll notice I was celebrating with some of my other agents. Last Friday was my last day at my job, so my full-time job. So you're going to see a little bit of a different game for me, because now I'm going to put, it's funny now that you're officially free of your 9 to 5, but there's other priority that you take on in terms of, I want to spend more time with my children. I want to spend more time on me and my body, but at the same time, and now I have more time for my agents, right? And I think that's kind of to give you a nutshell of what my success have been like. And remember, the crazy part about this is, Jacob and we were building our marketing business above and beyond. On top of this, I took vacation days and spent time with Jacob to build our business, which I know Jacob was like he's the website guru. So he was pulled even more time into integrating a lot of the back end of our business. And I come from a very strategy world, and Jacob comes from a digital marketing technical world. So it's like the perfect marriage. So we the moment we met each other, right away we saw our future, like a bright future of a lot of the things that we can do together. And that's kind of where a lot of the things came to be. But Jacob, you can talk a little bit about your successes the past couple of months as well.
Yeah, mine's pretty different, but as far as like, I still had my marketing company like her working, and my first month, even just implementing some things that I went through Mike's course. I was like, I already know social media. I've been doing this forever. But I actually learned a few things, especially because the real estate realm is a little bit different in the way you have to advertise. And my first month using his, I had about 45 leads to come in within the first 2 weeks, and was able to work with a few clients out of that. About 8 of them I'm still in contact with that were looking to move this summer. Was actually able to even get a lady that's relocating from South Texas, and she actually passed me on. You talk about referral. When you ask them, do you know anybody else that needs a real estate agent? Literally, I had about six or seven people call and said, hey, we're all relocating for work, and it's a company that's relocating. So a lot of their agents are trying to sell their home there. And then I'm also able to put a referral there, and they're all going to be relocating towards the end of this year. So I've been in like constant contact with them. So real estate is doing well. I have 4 people on my team. Even got to experience 2 of my agents. They closed their first cash deal. And so that was super exciting to see the whole rev share start to work and stuff, because I was really focused on the marketing business, because I really wanted this to pair to add value to my team. And now that we have this huge product launch, that we can kind of focus now on everything, and it's just really exciting. So, sorry, I was reading the question. And the best thing is to use everything that's giving, and we want to go above and beyond in real estate. Like, my goal is just to teach everybody what I did correctly and what I didn't do correctly, because everybody has those success and failures, and we're not afraid to talk about either one of those. So I know there's another question. Do you want to go ahead?
Absolutely. And yeah, again, this is something a little bit I touched on, guys. This is the beauty of what Mike Sherrard, and I'm not sure if you guys know about him. He is a leader in our company. He's the number one agent with the largest revenue share organization within our company. And the crazy part is he is the largest, not the number of agents within him. He has the largest ratio of agents performing, right? Remember, you can have thousands of agents under you, but if they're not performing, that number is just vanity number. You can just say, I have 100 agents under me, but if your 100 agents aren't performing, then what is that, right? So it's very similar to you being at another brokerage and not performing, right? Mike Sherrard is the number one agent in our company worldwide, not just Canada, not just US, worldwide. And he's my sponsor, and which is the beautiful part. And Jacob, I sponsored Jacob. So Jacob has access to everything I provide, and he has access to everything Mike provides, everything Connor provides, because Connor Steinberg is Mike Sherrard's sponsor. And this is the way that our group, Agent Wolfpack, and we operate. Is we wanted to give you have access to everything that our upline provides. And the moment you come into our group, we'll add you to other Facebook groups that Connor's in, and their sponsors are in, because you have access to all of our referral network. And we're really thinking about it in terms of it's kind of like a ripple effect of successes. And remember, the more people your members have. So for example, like, let's say one of you come on under our team, let's say under Jacob, and you do really well, and you start attracting, let's say you have a couple of your friends, so they see you on social media and they say, hey, what brokerage are you with? And then you tell them about EXP and they join under you. Now, when they make a deal, Jacob makes money, I make money, Mike makes money. And sometimes the higher you go, they make more money off of this one person's deal that Jacob had, that Jacob attracted the company, which is mind blowing. But this is, again, this is just a revenue share model that we're talking about because the question came up, guys. But this is why I really encourage you to just look at the model, the brokerage model as a whole, because remember, you come into this company to perform, and we work with buyers and sellers, and we earn income by performing as agents that way. But what the revenue share is just passive income that helps you. Like the last month, my revenue share income paid for my car loan, like thinking about actually one of my bills. It actually paid two of my bills, but you know what I mean? Like thinking about, and I didn't have to do anything, but I was doing something I already do for my business, which is I consult people, I work with brands, I share my strategies, and I'm already doing that, with agents. So I think thinking about going into it is that, people are coming to our brokerage and they're making more money doing the same thing that they would do any other brokerage. That's what I want to mention, guys. You're not coming to our brokerage and have to do anything magical. You're doing the same thing. You don't have to recruit a single agent, right? So you don't have to do any of that. You can come and perform the same way you do, and you just make more money, because remember, we're a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. So we're a stock holding company. So there's a number of ways you make money off that. When you close your first deal, you get $200 in USD into your stock account that is working for you. You get $400 when your first agent that you bring on closes a deal. So think about all the opportunities. And then on above that, you also have an opportunity, it's an optional opportunity for you to make, you could put aside 5% of your transaction at 10% discount for equity opportunity as well. So there's so many different ways in order for you to create wealth. But remember, guys, when pandemic hit, and your one job, when your income stream is affected, what happens to you? Now you're vulnerable, right? Now you don't have another streams of income that you're earning. So make sure, that's why I love this company, is that it has multiple streams of income. So I have 3 streams of income. One gets hit, I have 2 others. So and that's just me being a part of EXP. And then I have other income. That's why a lot of the times when you become an entrepreneur, and often successful, wealthy people, right? Wealthy people have is multiple source of income. It's the same. The wealth quadrant says what, in order for you to be wealthy, you need to have the duplication, residual income, passive income, right? So thinking about that, and equity, right? Like thinking about all sorts of ways for you to earn. But I always tell the agent, it's like, what do you want? How do you want your business to be, right? And people often work hard and not smart. And that's why that saying, you see it often in the hustle culture, right? People, they work so hard to get to somewhere, but they often hold themselves back because they're like, but it worked for you, might it not work for me. But have you tried though? And so that's why the moment I actually saw this model, and it was introduced to me through my husband, because he watches all the YouTubers from Graham Stephan and Josh Altman and Brian Casella, all these influencers. And he came across Mike Sherrod, and he was watching Mike Sherrod for a long time. But because we were vigorously looking for a brokerage at the time and interviewing people, he heard about EXP. And then he told me to, and then I booked a call, myself and Josh booked a call with Mike Sherrod, a one-on-one Zoom call. And right away I knew this was a no-brainer business model. And I wanted to align with that guy. And then when I aligned with him, it opened me up for so many opportunities that I looked at, I'm like, oh my goodness, I do something so different. He's so good at social media. I am a marketing strategist. Like, this is what I do with companies. I help their business from a strategy level and business planning. Like, why am I not doing this with agents? And then Jacob comes out of nowhere, joins under my team, and then him and I take this to another level with our marketing company, because he was already doing something similar with this company. So I think, and you'll see this the more and more. And right now I have somebody else in my group that's coming in who is so good at something else, and I'm looking to partner with them on that level, right? And you kept leveraging and you work together as a team. And for any of you that are in the Greater Toronto area, like, I encourage you to come to our lunch and learns and be there, because I would love for you guys to take it on and do one in your area, right? In the Greater Toronto area, because Toronto is pretty far from, Scarborough, Mississauga, and different parts of Toronto. So I encourage you just to, I know I took a long time to get to that question, but, I really wanted to emphasize that you are the only limitation. You are your only a barrier for moving forward. So don't look at a brokerage. Don't think of, often I had an agent that came to me and she was onto her fourth brokerage, and she was looking for something in a brokerage. And I said, no, the success is within you, because there's top performers at Remax, there's top performers at EXP, there's top performer at Century 21. But the funniest part is, if you ever look at the numbers, and this is why I encourage you to look at the full EXP model, I will dispel some myth and I'll show you, because often people think, oh, EXP, all they do is recruit. And the funniest part is that we have, out of the top 3 brokerages in North America, how come EXP has the highest, 112% more in production than any other brokerage? And we did this during the pandemic, because a lot of the time you could do it from working from home. And during COVID, we essentially performed, we produced. And when I say produced, not revenue share, we sold more houses, we purchased more houses, we helped more transaction than any other, the top 3 brokerages in North America. We are the fastest growing brokerage by number in North America, in North American history. We're part of, Jacob and I are part of the fastest growing team within EXP. So I think I'll let the numbers speak for itself. But thanks for the question. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any more questions, we're going to send an email right after this with a link to our calendar. We're going to send a link to that Excel sheet we talked about when you're interviewing brokerages. And we'll even send a link to our social media planner, so you kind of have an idea of what that looks like. Again, this is just a very simple guideline of what to post on a weekly basis. And we're here to give you value. If you have any questions, you could find us on social media, and feel free to direct messages and have conversation with us. We're happy to meet with you privately as well. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. I know Jacob and I said we'll do this for an hour and a half, and we're not too bad. 6 minutes past. So I hope you guys learned a lot. Today it was a holiday weekend, and we are real estate agents. We work all the time. So I thought it was a perfect time for people, because depending on where you are, people are coming from their cottages and such and are unwinding. So we thought maybe people would listen to this on their way from home or kind of unwinding. So, but I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And please register for our upcoming sessions in the future. So I love to see you guys there. I know there are some familiar faces in the group today that we've seen during Clubhouse. So it's really lovely. And I love getting direct messages from people. And Jacob and I both across North America telling us that they are finding value in this, and that you guys are learning and growing. Because at the end of the day, guys, what is it to us if you hold all the knowledge to yourself, right? You only you become fulfilled by giving more and paying forward. So that's what we're here for. But thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
So much, guys. Bye.
Bye.